All the while, the duo's conversation is being broadcast at the examination site, where Deme Huo feels extremely relieved that her family member has been saved. It looks like Lady Luck really is on their side. But Bai Tong knows this is nothing short of a miracle. If Huo Xian had failed to find Yi Ling at that exact moment, she would probably be out of the game already. All the other representatives are left impressed as well, and Lu Feng comments on how he didn't expect Yi Ling to save another applicant in such a dangerous situation. Hong Shi Yu chimes in too, stating how he came at the most vital time. Nevertheless, what she's truly surprised about is Yi Ling's spirit pet and her abilities. Hearing all the commotion, the mayor remarks on how all the representatives only seem to have eyes for Yi Ling. And that couldn't be truer. According to Hong Shiyu, she has already contacted her school and gotten approval from the principal. Despite the Zhu Kuwei Academy not accepting any male students, they have decided to make an exception and bend the rules for Yi Ling. Sounds like our boy gets to have his own harem. Hearing this, Demi Huo makes some sly comment about Hong Shiyu, but she just laughs it off. Nevertheless, there is one thing that has left Lu Feng confused. From the looks of it, Yi Ling seems to be pretty strapped for cash, and she is rummaging through corpses to gather materials. But it's hard to believe that a genius like him would be in such a position. Alas, this is due to the lack of nepotism. Apparently, Yi Ling isn't from any big family, and his results are mediocre. In fact, as per the info, he is a mere rank 1, level 2 practitioner. This announcement leaves all the representatives with their jaws on the floor. What, he's not from any big family, and is rank 1, level 2? That's impossible, they mutter. But they did just witness him take down a rank 1, level 9 beast, so I guess their surprise is warranted. Anyway, back inside the realm, Yi Ling and Huo Xian find a place to rest inside the forest. There, he tries to get some shut-eye before the next big emergency occurs, but Huo Xian is more interested in how her ally became so strong. As such, she inches closer to him, claiming since they can't really sleep here, it's better if they talk for now. Nevertheless, being the Sigma he is, Yi Ling turns her down, wanting to just rest until they can get out tomorrow. But Xian sweetens the deal, willing to pay 500 federal points if he talks with her. Hearing this, he begins drooling from his mouth and immediately agrees to do so. As a result, Huo Xian begins her questions, asking why Yi Ling is so powerful all of a sudden. She also inquires about his spirit pet, remarking on how it doesn't look anything like a zombie. In response, he explains that Shui Yu is actually a mutated zombie. Of course, this is a big fat lie, but it's not like he can tell her he has a cheat system that can evolve zombies. This news is big enough to shake the entire Federation to the core if it gets out, so it's in his best interest to keep it under wraps. He even calls out Shui Yu, and seeing her appearance, Huo Xian begins getting jealous of her beauty. Imagine being jealous of a literal zombie. Poor girl. Regardless, she then moves on to the next topic, asking if he has already chosen a spirit academy he wants to attend. However, he reveals he hasn't thought of it yet, although they will probably pick one with a lot of pretty chicks, and they say chivalry is dead. Hearing this, Huo Xian is left appalled and deems him a playboy. Even Shui Yu gives him a look of disgust. Nonetheless, with this conversation, they have had ample time to rest, and Yi Ling suggests they get moving now. However, this confuses Huo Xian, who thinks it's a better idea to just stay still here until the trial ends tomorrow, but Yi Ling refuses. As per him, everyone else is in hiding, like the weaklings they are, but for them, this is an indispensable time. Right now, they can hunt all they want and level up. How could I miss it? He exclaims. Consequently, he takes Shui Yu with him and begins heading deeper into the forest. All the while, Huo Xian is left perplexed at Yi Ling's bloodthirsty tendencies, though ultimately decides it's safer to stay close to this lunatic. And so, the trio begins hunting for monsters in the area, and soon enough, they come across 2 demonic apes, who immediately pounce on them. Seeing them rush in, Yi Ling orders Shui Yu to charge in as well and attack, and she takes down both beasts in the blink of an eye. Dude, is this whole series just a Pokemon reference? Witnessing such a display, Huo Xian is flabbergasted by the pet's strength. Eventually, the night turns into day, and the trial finally comes to an end. Both of them successfully got past the first stage of the trials, and Huo Xian couldn't be happier. She profusely thanks her savior, claiming she might have failed, if not for him. But Yi Ling doesn't really want any thanks. All he wants is his reward. He asks her for the 100,000 federal points, along with the 500 chatting fee from earlier. Bro never gets caught lacking. Obviously, this annoys Huo Shi Honor, but she tells him not to worry, since she will keep her promise and pay him tomorrow. Anyway, with the trial coming to an end, Ling decides to head back into the real world since he has to prepare for the next stage, which is being held the very next day. How exhausting, he proclaims. On the outside, it is revealed that only 82 people have passed, while 403 people have failed the test. What's more, there have been 75 deaths throughout the entire ordeal. The examination site is filled with applicants who are delighted to no end that they managed to pass, as well as with others who failed and blame their weaknesses for not being able to advance to the next stage. There, as soon as Ling exits, he is met by Qi Ji, who is glad to see that his friend is unhurt. In his eyes, failing the stage isn't a big deal, as long as his friend is unharmed, and praises Ling's speedy legs for keeping him out of danger. That's kinda demeaning if you ask me. But, much to his shock, Ling reveals he has managed to pass. All of a sudden, the mayor comes onto the field, along with his assistant. They both congratulate everyone who passed and tell them to return to their homes and rest for the next stage. Seeing the mayor, Li Shengtian, son of the renowned Li family, expects to be the one the mayor has come to see. As such, he greets the mayor, who congratulates him for passing. However, the mayor keeps on moving, not giving Shengtian any attention. With this, the mayor then comes up to Ling, telling him to rest well for the following day before heading back. Being a part of this exchange, Qi Ji is left excited to no end after talking face-to-face with the mayor, but Ling tries to dismiss the situation and leave, telling Qi Ji to hurry up and go get his injuries looked at in the infirmary. On the other hand, Li Shengtian is annoyed at the fact that someone else stole his spotlight. Furious, he questions his groupie about Ling's identity, learning he supposedly has a trashy zombie as a pet. But all this does is make Li Shengtian even more pissed off. I mean, he was overshadowed by a guy with a trash pet after all. He thinks Ling isn't a normal person and vows to find out the limit of his abilities in tomorrow's second stage of the trial. Later that night, at his apartment, Ling finally takes a breath of relief after today's test. Excuse me, how can he afford an apartment on his own? Are we sure he isn't from any of the big families? He is well aware that without his cheat system, he wouldn't have been able to enter any spirit tamer academy, let alone an elite one. Regardless, he did manage to hunt down many monsters inside the secret realm and got his hands on a lot of material. Now it's time to sell his findings and make a boatload of money. Just then, Huo Shi-An's payment of a whopping 105,000 federal credits reaches his account. Such a vast amount is more than enough to buy all of Shu Weiyu's evolution materials, and he immediately begins checking his status window. Now that he has cleared the first round, his most recent quests have been completed, and as a reward, he is granted 3 energy crystals. As it turns out, these energy crystals have spiritual energy stored within them and, once used, give the user an extra 500 spiritual energy. This is awesome, Ling chuckles. These crystals will grant him 1,500 spiritual energy, and with this, he now has a grand total of 2,400. As it turns out, a rank 1 tamer's energy limit is 1,000, and this limit can only be exceeded after he or she has broken through to the second rank. Moreover, since no one at the academy has a pet that has reached rank 2 yet, he figures the next stage of the exam will be a cakewalk for him. Nonetheless, all the grinding and hunting has left him famished, and he decides to treat himself tonight with a big feast. He does have the funds to do so after all. As such, he calls up Qi Ji and invites him to join him for dinner. How can I make friends like this? Just then, he notices Huo Shi-An's contact info on the system screen. Thinking he was lucky enough to get a small fortune from her, he wants to express his gratitude and calls her up as well, so he can treat her to a meal too. Meanwhile, in the Huo family manor, Huo Shi-An is seen taking a bath when her smartwatch suddenly starts to ring. Do they have smartwatches in this world? Absent-mindedly, she picks up the call and hears Ling's voice inviting her to dinner. Realizing it is him, she is all excited and immediately agrees, asking for the location and time. However, as soon as she agrees, Ling hangs up on her, leaving her annoyed and embarrassed. And so, Qi Ji and Ling meet up in front of a lavish restaurant. There, Qi Ji pokes fun at his friend, asking if he got secretly rich or something. I mean, can a couple of students really afford to eat in such a fine establishment? But Ling chalks it up to a special occasion, especially considering how Qi Ji got injured. For you to recover from your injuries, we should eat better today, he exclaims. What a nice guy. Not only that, he explains that there is one more person who will be joining them today. However, this leaves Cheesy stunned. As far as he knew, Ling didn't have any other friends in school, so who on earth could be accompanying them? Ouch, that stings. But before Ling can answer, Huo Xi'an's flying car comes into view, and she steps out. Damn, this world is advanced. Wearing a beautiful dress, she greets Ling and he greets her back. All the while, Qiji is freaking out. I can't be surprised though. The fact is, this is a friendship that shouldn't exist. The loser and the school Madonna. Anyways, Ling introduces everyone to each other before they begin heading in. Also, seeing one of the Huo family members, the restaurant staff quickly comes to greet Huo Xi'an and her group. Once inside, they are seated and the food arrives. Seeing such a feast in front of him, Qiji cannot contain himself and begins drooling. Apparently, it's his first time visiting such a high-class place, and Ling tells him to eat as much as he wants. After all, he's the one paying, courtesy of the Huo family, of course. However, Xi'an tells him not to be so polite, since it is the reward he rightfully earned. She's just happy to befriend a strong guy like him. Of course, Qiji doesn't understand a single word of what is going on. No, he's more fixated on the food. On the other hand, at the Liu family manor, an emergency council is set in place. The elders demand an explanation from their leader, asking what his plan is. Now that Liu Wu, the son of the family patriarch, cannot enter a tamer academy, he is no longer eligible to occupy the position of the young master of the Liu family. As such, the elders want him to step down and hand over the position to a talented individual from the younger generation. I guess what goes around comes around. Now that things have come to this, the leader of the family cannot simply continue to let Liu Wu take the position, just because he is his son. The elders voice their concerns, claiming, you can't hand the entire family to trash. Couldn't be more right if you ask me. But the patriarch, Liu Yun, has heard enough and already made his decision. In front of him, Liu Wu is seen groveling on the ground, blaming his luck and that damn python for his failure. Seeing such a pathetic display from his kin, he forfeits Liu Wu's right as the future leader, and wants to give it to a talented person from the direct branch of the family, and the elders agree with this decision. They begin notifying the rest of the family to pick out someone suitable immediately. However, this leaves Liu Wu in a pickle. He knows that without his family's name behind him, and without the position of young master, he will lose everything he has. Good luck pushing around your family's name now. Alas, in his eyes, there is only one person to blame for all of this. Ling, I will definitely kill you, he proclaims. Better not try. You might end up losing your other arm as well. The next day, the ones lucky enough to advance to the next trial reach the exam venue. There, Ling and Qiji both stand among the crowd, and Qiji seems fearful about his friend. As per him, the next round is where the applicants will be battling it out against each other, and he warns Ling to stay careful, especially because of his supposed trash pet. However, Ling looks as confident as ever, telling Qiji not to worry. Suddenly, the mayor gets on top of the podium and makes an announcement. Firstly, he congratulates everyone and explains the premise of the test. He tells everyone to bring their A game, so they can put on a good show for the academy representatives and showcase all of their abilities in order to be selected into their dream schools. It is explained that the second round is a random battle. The rules state that as long as one side surrenders, cannot fight back, or gets kicked out of the ring, they will be declared the loser. The results of each loser will be based on their losing time. What's more, once the opponent loses the ability to fight back, the applicants cannot do anything to harm their lives, or else they will immediately be disqualified. But despite these strict rules, there are often injuries and even disabilities that take place in each year's trial. Can't save them all, I guess. Regardless, the mayor commences the random battles and reveals the lineup. As fate would have it, both Ling and Qiji have battles in the first round. All of a sudden, Ling hears something and notices that his cheat system is going wild. One after the other, he begins getting quests. All in all, he gets 6 missions at once. In addition, the rewards can be stacked as well. The system sure is generous. Seeing this, he is left taken aback. I mean, this is the first time he has triggered so many missions at once. Still, the show must go on. The referee calls for Ling to come to ring 4, and he hurries over. As per the referee, the fighters have to be cautious about the fight time. If there is no response from one side for a long period, the battle qualification will be taken down. Anyway, He's pitted against a guy named Tian Chun, someone he has never heard of and hence knows nothing about. But how hard can it really be? Moments later, the battle finally starts, and Tian Chun calls out his pet, a Uniceros. In response, Ling also summons Shu Weiyu, and both parties prepare for the fight. All the while, the bystanders watch with great intrigue, and are left stunned after seeing Shu Weiyu for the first time. Her appearance catches them off guard, so much so that most of the bystanders cannot believe she's really a spirit pet. The dudes in the crowd go especially crazy, fawning over Shu Weiyu and wishing they too had a pet as pretty as her. A bunch of perverts, if you ask me. Even Deme Huo and Hong Shi watch intently, commenting on how Ling has become the center of attention. The second he summoned his pet, sounds like someone is jealous. On the other hand, Tian Chun, the guy who should be the most interested in his opponent, just deems Ling as another useless contender. Not thinking much of him, he orders Uniceros to charge in and end things quickly. And heeding his master's command, Uniceros moves in for the kill. Despite this, Ling remains unfazed. He realizes Tian Chun is trying to compete with strength. However, this is his worst mistake. Ling orders Shu Weiyu to not show any mercy and display her power, and she too charges in. As a result, both pets collide with each other, but much to everyone's surprise, Unicero's attack is stopped midway. But the show has just started. As soon as Shu Weiyu grabs her opponent, Ling orders her to finish it, and she lifts up the giant Uniceros in the air and tosses it out of the ring like it's nothing but a pile of garbage. This marks the end of the fight, and Ling emerges as the victor. Witnessing such physical prowess, the crowd is in awe, whereas Tian Chun is still unable to face reality. How could this be? He's just a loser, he mumbles. If so, you are an even bigger loser. However, no one stays the same forever. As per Ling, if you work hard, you'll succeed eventually. Well, or at least die trying. Also, there become a cheat set to help you. You hypocrite. Nevertheless, with a victory under his belt, one of Ling's missions is completed, and he gets rewarded immediately. Thanks to this, Shu Weiyu reaches level 10. On the other hand, the rest of the matches also come to an end eventually, and are won by Li Shengtian, Qi Ji, and Ma Xiao Jian respectively. But Ling couldn't be less interested. He's just excited that his pet has broken through to rank 1 level 10. As it turns out, every time his spirit pet levels up, the host's physique will also be boosted. In layman's terms, once Shu Weiyu reaches rank 2, Ling will be able to make a contract with another pet. Just then, Qi Ji comes up to him, injured and wounded. Seeing him in such a state, Ling gets worried, commenting on how he will be in trouble for the next round. But Qi Ji tries to remain optimistic, hoping that he might just get lucky and get paired up against an even more injured guy. Well, a guy can dream, can't he? Meanwhile, on the podium, the representatives are impressed by the skills displayed by the students, but this is just the start. If the applicants want to join a top-tier academy, they have to enter the secret realm multiple times, and hence, this is the foundation of their development. Consequently, the further into the competition they get, the more exciting things will become. Eventually, the second round of the battles commences, and the battle lineup is revealed. Up first is Ling, who tells Qi Ji to rest up, since he has already passed the first round. In response, Qi Ji tells his friend not to worry about him. Of course, he does have some regrets from the last fight, but Ling needs to focus on his personal battles. Right now, you are a black horse, he claims. It should be a dark horse, but whatever. Hearing this, Ling begins to chuckle and makes his way to the stage. Despite the compliments from his friend, he still can't take his opponent lightly, even though the foe is from a second-rate family. Inside the ring, Feng Haotian stands proudly, too proud if you ask me. Although he too was impressed by Ling's performance in the previous round, it still won't be enough. He tells Ling to acknowledge defeat early, so he doesn't end up getting hurt in the fight. However, our boy was never one to back out from a challenge. As per him, they still can't be certain who will come out on top, and the only way to find out is through letting their pets do the talking. On the other hand, the patriarch of the Feng family is seen watching the battle from the audience. As per him, Feng Haotian has gotten pretty lucky this time around since his opponent isn't from the 3 big clans. This makes him think that his protege will secure victory in this round as well. Little does he know, the boy is in for a world of hurt. And so, the battle finally commences, and Feng Haotian summons his pet, a green bird. As soon as his pet comes out, he gets on top of it, and flies up into the air, announcing it's already too late to beg for mercy. In response, Ling also calls out Shueyu. According to him, flying-type monsters are the most annoying to deal with, and he orders Shueyu to find an opening and attack. Nevertheless, Feng Haotian isn't a mere pushover as well. As soon as he gets up into the air, he begins unleashing long-range attacks, specifically targeting Ling. He knows attacking the master directly will bring an easier victory without much of a hassle, but Ling is well prepared and uses a spiritual shield to block the incoming blows just in the nick of time. Seeing this, the Feng family patriarch is amazed at his son's prowess. Obviously, he has the utmost confidence in his son and watches in anticipation. Back inside the ring, Ling orders his pet to use blood fog, creating a red mist that engulfs the entire ring, making it hard to see. This makes it difficult for Feng Haotian to land blows, and as such, he tries to head up even further to dissipate the fog. Alas, this is his biggest mistake. Haha, have you fallen for it? Ling chuckles. Just as the green bird tries to ascend further into the air, he uses a spiritual chain to constrain it, rendering it unable to move. With this, Shueyu finds the perfect opportunity and moves in for the kill. Obviously, Feng Haotian tries to escape the chain's clutches, but he is no match. After all, no matter how much he struggles, he cannot escape from this level 2 spiritual chain. Sucks to be that guy, am I right? As such, Ling tugs on his chain, forcing both Haotian and the green bird to crash into the ground. This marks Ling as the victor, and the crowd goes crazy. What's more, with this victory, he also completes another one of his missions, boosting Shueyu's XP by 10%. On the other hand, at the podium, the representatives are in disbelief about the result. Bai Tong deems Ling's actions as reckless, commenting on how if his timing was off by even a millisecond, it would be him who would have bitten the dust. However, Demi Huo isn't sure about that. From her perspective, it looks like Ling orchestrated this whole thing. I think it was part of his plan, she claims. As per her, Ling's main goal of upgrading his spiritual chain might have been to deal with flying pets, but still, it's all too hard for her to believe, and she decides to continue watching on the edge of her seat. Slowly but surely, the second round of the battles also comes to an end, and a little rest time is given to the victors before the third round commences. All the while, Ling is extremely happy with his results. He didn't think it would be so easy to reach the top 20. However, he is now up against the daughter of the Yun clan, Yun Yi. Still, she's not going to be much of an opponent, especially if her pet isn't a flying type. Soon, after the break ends, both fighters step inside the ring, and Yun Yi summons her frozen grizzly bear pet. Seeing this, everyone in the audience goes wild. As it turns out, this is a rare, fully grown spirit pet, not to mention the fact that ice-type pets like hers have a natural edge over other abilities. Nevertheless, this isn't enough to scare Ling and Shueyu away. And so, the battle finally starts, and Yun Yi tries to end things as soon as possible. She orders her frozen grizzly bear to pulverize their foe, and the bear rushes in at full speed. In response, Ling leaves the battle to his pet, and Shueyu charges in for a brawl as well. However, her movement speed leaves Yun Yi in awe. Realizing she won't be able to beat them with speed, she orders her frozen grizzly bear to freeze their foe solid and end things. A good strategy, if you ask me. Consequently, the frozen grizzly bear unleashes a cold mist from its mouth. However, all of this is within Ling's expectations. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that a rare pet would have mastered elemental powers. Nevertheless, it doesn't really affect Shueyu's speed in the slightest, and Yun Yi decides to change her plan of action. All of a sudden, she orders her pet to use Ice Wave Assault, and the bear sends out a strong blast, hurling toward Ling. But despite this, Ling remains unfazed. He knew he was going to be the primary target of attacks and used his spiritual shield just in the nick of time to avoid any damage. But, much to his surprise, the blast is extremely strong, so much so that it leaves a crack in his shield. Even with the first level spiritual power, it still seems weak, he claims. Yeah, maybe you should have upgraded your own skills when you knew you were going to be the target. Regardless, this doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. During this assault, Shueyu is left wide open, and she finds the right time to pounce on the frozen grizzly bear. Grabbing it by the head, she slams it into the floor, rendering it completely unable to move. Witnessing such fearsome power, the crowd is left unable to believe their eyes. They cannot even fathom that a mere humanoid spirit pet was able to completely overpower a frozen grizzly bear in an instant. Even Uni is left bewildered, but still, she refuses to back down now, especially when she has made it this far already. Not good. I must think of a way. She realizes. Therefore, she decides to help out her pet in its time of need and deploys her own spiritual chain in an attempt to fling Shuiyu off her pet. And her plan actually works. Well, sort of at least. Although she does manage to constrain her foe in her chains, she is not able to pull her away from the frozen grizzly bear. That's just how powerful Shuiyu really is. This leaves Yi even more perplexed, but Ling just deems it to be the fault of her weak spiritual power. Damn, you are going to need some aloe vera for that burn. At last, it is now time to end things once and for all. Ling orders Shuiyu to finish the fight, and she simply grabs the frozen grizzly bear's head once again, and throws it into the air, sending it out of the ring, and attaining yet another easy victory. This time, all eyes are glued to Shuiyu's unimaginable strength. Even a Yun family patriarch is left stunned, unable to believe that his esteemed daughter was defeated by a random nobody. Seeing him in shock, the other family patriarchs try to calm him down. The fact is, Yuni performed very well today, but her opponent was just too powerful this time. They claim if it were one of their family representatives, things might have ended up even worse, and it's all due to the terrifying power of Shuiyu. Inside the ring, Yuni walks over to Ling. Even though she never imagined getting defeated like this, she congratulates her opponent and looks forward to his next performance. What a nice and upstanding girl. Add her to your harem. Shikun extends her hand to show there are no hard feelings. In response, Ling compliments her strength as well. He deems her as a remarkable foe. And even though she's been stopped here, her tenacity alone will give her many more chances to enter a top-tier academy. With this, Yuni takes her leave from the ring. Just then, all of a sudden, the system starts popping up. This third victory has completed 2 more of Ling's missions, and Shuiyu's experience has increased. Not only that, the system also gives him body strengthening. Due to this, his power increases even more, and the pain inside his body slowly starts to disappear. Ok, so just painkillers? Why is the system drubbing a minor? Anyway, Ling then takes a small breather, and the third round also comes to a swift end. The host then announces the quarterfinals will begin shortly and reveals the matchups, telling all participants to proceed to their respective arenas. As the lineup is revealed, Ling finds himself faced against manhua, a formidable opponent he is already aware of. He knows the next foe will be strong, but for the current Ling, he doesn't pose much of a threat. Eventually, the quarterfinals begin, and manhua steps into the ring. Goddamn, he's short and ugly. The author really did this guy dirty. As he steps inside, he summons his pet. Seeing this, Ling is surprised that his opponent's pet is also a necromancy type. Maybe he and Shuiyu are related. They might even be family. Just imagine how funny it will be if Shuiyu is like, "Dad, why are you here? Where have you been?" As such, he also calls out Shuiyu and the battle begins. And so the battle begins, and Manhua's spirit pet, spiritual warrior, dashes in for close quarter combat. Seeing this, Ling gets curious as to what his opponent's plan is. If he really plans on fighting in close quarter combat, Ling has the upper hand in terms of strength. Hence, he orders Shuiyu to prioritize her attacks on manhua. This way, the fight will be way easier, and they can win, as long as they bring down the master. However, it's also important to pay attention to the opponent's pet as well. Consequently, Shuiyu also rushes in for a frontal clash, but just before the two exchange blows, Ling uses his spiritual chain to restrain the spirit warrior's attacks and movements. Witnessing this, manhua is left perplexed. What's going on? How is this possible? He wonders. On the other hand, this gives Shuiyu the perfect opportunity to jump in. With this, she aims directly for manhua and lands a solid blow. And one strike is enough to send fear into the enemy's heart. Immediately, he forfeits the match and admits defeat, not wanting to get injured or even lose his life in this exam. Damn, that was quick. All the while, the crowd is left shocked. The fight lasted less than 2 minutes. The head of the Lee family, who is also watching from the sidelines, is left with cold sweat running down his body as he wonders what on earth happened. Regardless, the battle is already over, and Ling exits the ring. There, he is confronted by a young girl. The girl refuses to reveal who she is, but warns Ling to stay far away from who she honor before she runs away. The whole interaction is a bit too weird for Ling, and he deems the girl as a weirdo. I would too. She seemed pretty sketchy. Anyway, it is now time for the semifinals, and the match-ups are drawn. On the representatives' podium, everyone watches with anticipation. As per them, things are getting more and more exciting with each passing round. Lu Feng realizes that Yi Ling's next opponent is Li Shengtian, the son of the Li family patriarch. What's more, he notes that his strength and power don't seem to be lacking as well, making things even more intriguing. Inside the ring, Li Shengtian feels lucky to encounter Yi Ling. As you might remember, he vowed to take Yi Ling down when the mayor started to pay extra attention to him. Dude, you got to give up on receiving affection from an old guy. It looks desperate. Li Shengtian compliments his opponent's performance up until now, but now that his opponent is him, the tables are going to turn. Facing me, you are going to have a tough time, he announces. Nonetheless, Yi Ling remains unfazed by all the provocations. Ultimately, both fighters summon their spirit pets, and the fight begins. As it turns out, Li Shengtian's pet is a rock warlord, a rock-type spirit. Seeing this, Yi Ling realizes that Shu Weiyu's life-stealing ability will play no part in this fight, though I don't think that is going to change the outcome at all. I mean, he is the main character after all. Plot armor will help him through all the ordeals. Nevertheless, the battle finally gets underway, and the first thing Li Shengtian does is cast a stone prison around him, creating a barrier of rocks. In addition, he begins taunting Yi Ling, telling him to try and break this stone prison. He knows Shu Weiyu is lacking in elemental attack techniques, making it impossible for her to do so. Meanwhile, the crowd begins gossiping about this move. They contemplate if such a desperate measure is really necessary. Although Yi Ling has been a formidable foe, for one of the three major families to pull such a stunt is just embarrassing. What's more, it looks kind of dumb as well, almost as if Li Shengtian has trapped himself. Despite this, it's still undeniable that this defensive strategy is pretty effective. Still, with his safety now assured, Li Shengtian starts the fight and orders his pet to charge in and show its power. Consequently, Rock Warlord hurls attacks towards Yi Ling, who recognizes that the opponent's strength is formidable. As a result, he decides to use his spiritual chain to restrict Rock Warlord's movements. However, he finds out that this rock pet is way too big, and he can't even make it budge, despite having a level 2 spiritual chain. Consequently, the outcome is solely dependent on Shu Weiyu now, and she jumps in to land a blow. Alas, Rock Warlord's defensive strength is incredibly high, so much so it doesn't take any damage. Furthermore, attacking this type of pet doesn't trigger Shu Weiyu's lifesteal skill as well, sending them into a bigger hole. Still, Yi Ling refuses to give up, especially now that he has defied all the odds and reached this stage. I must think of a way, he proclaims. Just then, Rock Warlord manages to break free from Yi Ling's spiritual chain and moves in to attack Shu Weiyu. Seeing this, Yi Ling is left stunned and tells his pet to stay careful. Thanks to his warning, Shu Weiyu manages to evade just in the nick of time and jumps up into the air. Witnessing this exchange, the crowd once again begins gossiping about the performance. They wonder if this is really all that Li Shengtian is capable of. However, from the looks of it, he appears to be very calm, though it might just be that he is scared straight. Back inside the ring, Li Shengtian decides to switch gears and step on the gas. "It's time to let you have a taste of my true strength," he exclaims. With this, he orders Rock Warlord to transform into its humanoid form. Heeding his master's command, Rock Warlord begins to glow with a reddish hue. Sensing impending danger, Yi Ling tells Shu Weiyu to fall back. And that is when Rock Warlord suddenly explodes, sending boulders flying across the examination site. As the dust from the explosion settles down, Yi Ling is left perplexed after seeing Rock Warlord has transformed into a robotic figure. According to Li Shengtian, this is his strongest skill. By discarding his massive size, not only can his pet obtain a stronger physique, but it also increases Rock Warlord's speed. "You better watch out," he warns Yi Ling. On the other hand, Yi Ling didn't expect Li Shengtian to have such a powerful skill up his sleeve. Nevertheless, the first priority is to test his opponent's claim, and he orders Shu Weiyu to go and test out Rock Warlord's new improved strength. Consequently, both pets move in for a head-on collision and exchange blows. However, much to Li Shengtian's surprise, even this transformation isn't enough. Despite the power-up, Rock Warlord gets pushed back, sending his master into a state of panic. In a haze, he orders Rock Warlord to push through and continue attacking, whereas Yi Ling gains even more confidence and decides it's better to end things as quickly as possible. He tells Shuiyu to finish the battle, and she obeys. Grabbing Rock Warlord by the head, she flings him up into the air and unleashes a karat chop, forcing her opponent to crash down out of the ring. Seeing this, the crowd goes wild. They didn't expect such a one-sided battle in the semifinals. The crowd contemplates how on earth Ling managed to become the strongest in the entire school, especially when he was but a low-level bottom feeder not long ago. Ouch, kids can be pretty mean. As per them, Ling must have been hiding his true potential and is only showing it now. They become envious of him and his pet, commenting that they too want a beautiful and strong pet like Shuiyu. Meanwhile, the representatives are still taken aback by Ling's power, although Li Shumtian wasn't bad at all. The fact is his opponent is just too strong. According to Lu Feng, Shuiyu's power is already rivaling that of a rank 5 level 10. Having such strength at this age is truly rare in this world, he proclaims. Yeah, we knew that already. Even the mayor is looking forward to this year's finals, remarking that it is sure to be exceptionally exciting. Anyways, this marks Ling as the victor, and he reaches the finals without much trouble. In addition to reaching the finals, Ling also completes 2 of his missions. As a result, his XP increases by a significant percentage, and he is also granted an unknown flying spiritual pet egg as a reward. And this is exactly what Ling wanted. He wanted to have a flying pet to add to his arsenal, so he could become even stronger. Anyway, he then exits the ring, thinking about how Huo Xian-er's match is going. On the flip side, Huo Xian-er is currently engaged in a battle against Zhang Shounan and her flying-type pet, as she rides her pet, creating a strong gust of wind below. Huo Xian-er seems to be in a pickle. All she can do is try and defend herself. However, Zhang Shounan looks to be having no trouble whatsoever. She apologizes to Huo Xian-er, claiming she is determined to make it to the finals no matter what, even if she has to bring down the school Madonna in order to do so. As a result, she tells her pet, Storm Eagle, to finish the battle, and unleashes many hurricanes, pushing Huo Xian-er deeper and deeper into a corner. Despite having a strong earth dragon at her disposal, she is unable to do anything in this fight. All the while, Ling is watching these two battle it out from the sidelines and recognizes Zhang Shounan to be extremely strong. As per him, if things keep going like this, it won't be long before Huo Xian-er loses. Have some faith in your friend, why don't you? And just like he predicted, Huo Xian-er's Earth Dragon slowly starts to take more and more damage. She tries to keep her pet's morale high, but ultimately, the poor dragon collapses to the ground after a while, and the victory is handed to Zhang Shounan. Having been defeated in the semifinals, Huo Xian-er is left broken. As she exits the stage, tears start welling up in her eyes. With a depressed tone, she apologizes to her father for losing, but he tells her not to worry. After all, it's normal to win some and lose some. The fact is, Huo Xian-er has performed extremely well and has made it to the semifinals. With this, the Huo family takes their leave and begins heading back. As she leaves, Huo Xian-er sneaks a glance towards Ling, who is preparing to step inside the ring. On finally here, he realizes this is the first step towards his future, and he vows to win, no matter what. However, before the match begins, the announcer reveals that there is a special twist in this year's battle. Apparently, the first-place winner will receive an additional reward from the city mayor, who also happens to be the school principal. Damn, that old man has some serious power. Someone should keep an eye on him. Hearing this, the bystanders are surprised. They think this new reward might have been added just now. Well, it isn't going to change the outcome. Ling has already become the crowd favorite for the first place. Back inside the ring, both contenders summon their pets. Ling tells Shuiyu that the time for their finale has arrived, promising to get his hands on the reward, whatever that might be. On the other hand, Zhang Shounan is as ready as ever, and at last, the battle officially begins. But seeing the opponent's pet, Ling is left flabbergasted. He notes that he is facing the Storm Eagle King, a beast on an entirely different level than the green bird he fought against in the previous rounds. But how on earth didn't he notice such a powerful pet before, leaving him to wonder if it just recently evolved? Of course, he doesn't have the luxury of figuring it out, and Zhang Shounan immediately goes in for an attack, telling her pet to not show any mercy. Immediately, the Storm Eagle King unleashes a strong gust of wind, unleashing an angry hurricane, and sending it hurtling toward his target. The speedy attack causes a huge dust storm, but as the aftermath settles down, It is revealed Yi Ling managed to protect himself by the skin of his teeth by erecting an energy shield. In front of such a powerful attack, even Shu Wei, you will take significant damage, and he tells her to stay protected behind him until further orders. But that's not all. Zhang Shengnan is left stunned after seeing Yi Ling has unlocked the rank 2 spiritual shield. As a result, she decides to not waste even a single second and moves in for yet another attack. All the while, the representatives watch on the edge of their seats. They comment on how this year's finale is way more exciting than previous years. Hong Shi remarks on how the Storm Eagle King is a fearsome foe, so much so that Zhang Shengnan might actually end up winning. But Bai Tong disagrees. Although the eagle is strong, it still has to find the right timing to attack, but from what he can see, its master is too impatient. Took the words right out of my mouth. Back towards Yi Ling, who finds his opportunity to counter. Shu Wei Yu, it's now or never. Go, he orders, and Shu Wei Yu dashes amidst the chaos at high speed. All of a sudden, the audience is filled with gasps. What? How is this possible? Zhang Shengnan questioned. Apparently, thanks to her speed. Shu Wei Yu not only manages to avoid the supersonic bullets, but also avoids the Storm Eagle King's detection and ultimately reaches her back. Being at death's gate, Zhang Shengnan realizes that it is her loss, and she admits defeat, handing over the win to Yi Ling. Seeing this, the mayor gives Yi Ling a standing ovation. According to him, Yi Ling knew he couldn't beat Zhang Shengnan in a head-on fight, so he kept her pet preoccupied, while Shu Wei Yu found an opening and went for the master. Although it was a risky strategy, he executed it perfectly. Even Deme Huo is impressed, commenting on how she didn't expect the finale to be over so quickly. All this has done is increase the intensity of how much she wants Yi Ling to enroll in her school, and Hong Shiyu and Lu Feng couldn't agree more, claiming their academy would be the one to get Yi Ling without a doubt. With this, the second stage of the exam comes to an end, and Yi Ling achieves the first place. Suddenly, the crowd erupts into cheers. As it turns out, it has been many years since the exam was won by someone outside of the three big families. Just then, Huo Xian comes over to Yi Ling, congratulating him on his victory. In response, Yi Ling thanks her and asks which academy she has chosen to attend. However, she is unsure and returns the question back to him. Why Fu Academy? Here we come. Alas, before they can finish their conversation, the mayor begins to make an announcement congratulating the victor, Yi Ling, since this year's academy assessment has come to an end. All of a sudden, Qi Ji and their teacher come up to Yi Ling, congratulating him. As per the teacher, he has brought glory to the entire class, along with the school. Hearing such words of praise, Yi Ling promises to continue working hard. Just then, the system screen pops up. Now that he has won the final battle, the last 2 missions Yi Ling had have been completed. As a reward, his XP increases by 10%. But that's not all. For achieving first place, he has been granted a new skill, Rebirth. It's explained that Rebirth is a rare skill that allows a spirit pet to be reborn when on the verge of death. After the rebirth, the combat abilities of the spirit pet will be recovered, but in order to be activated, it requires XP of the current level. In case the XP is 0, the skill will fail. Still, not a bad skill to have in your arsenal. It might end up coming in handy at the right time. However, there's one drawback. The cooldown is a whopping 30 days, but Yi Ling, despite being granted such an extraordinary skill, isn't all too happy. Apparently, although he fancies this power, he doesn't think it's very suitable for Shu Wei Yu. All of a sudden, Qi Ji pats him on the back, telling him to look up at the announcement screen. As it turns out, the mayor reveals that all the top 4 academies have selected Yi Ling as their first pick. Wow, that sure is a surprise. Totally didn't expect that to happen. Seeing this, the crowd goes wild. They are left flabbergasted after seeing Hong Shiyu's academy, Phoenix Academy, which is famous for not accepting any male students willing to take him in. This makes them think that maybe the school has finally opened up to other male students, but I guess they have to stop daydreaming. This is an exception solely for Yi Ling, who has outperformed each and every single one of his contenders. Such a situation may never happen again. Sucks to be ordinary, I guess. As such, all the applicants begin deciding on their school, though they don't really have much choice, seeing as how most of them haven't been hand-selected. All the while, Yi Ling thinks hard about his decision. Obviously, this single decision will have a major impact on his future, and hence, he has to make the right choice between the 4. Just then, Lu Feng calls out to Yi Ling to sweeten the deal. He claims that if Yi Ling decides to join his academy, he will be granted 5% more resources compared to all the others, and will even be allowed to enter the dungeon 3 times per year. For the average Joe, this is an offer too good to refuse. Cue the Godfather theme. Just being able to enter the dungeon 3 times can allow one to obtain the best equipment without any issues. But this is just the beginning. Bai Tong also chimes in, telling Yi Ling to not make up his mind hastily. Countering Mu Feng's offer, it gives Yi Ling 8% more resources and the opportunity to enter the dungeon 5 times a year. But the Shiva doesn't stop there. Demi Hu intervenes as well, offering 10% more resources and the chance to dungeon dive 5 times a year. What's more, she reveals that Huo Xian will also be in the same academy as him, giving him the chance to stay together with her as a classmate. Don't fall for it, dude. It's a honey trap. Hearing this, both Yi Ling and Huo Xian get embarrassed and flustered, but this still leaves Hong Xiu, who decides to rise above the competition. She promises to give Yi Ling 15% more resources, and even throws in the chance to enter a dungeon every single month. What's more, his acceptance will make him the first and only male student in the entire school. Noise. Hearing such an extravagant offer, all the boys get jealous, envious of envisioning Yi Ling, being surrounded by beauties all the time. And so, having been offered so much, Yi Ling ultimately decides to go to Hong Xiu's Crimson Phoenix Academy. Guess that seals my choice then, he exclaims. Called it. Waifu Academy, here we come. Having made up his mind, he picks the Phoenix School, making all the applicants more and more jealous. Even Qi Ji is excited about his friend's accomplishment, kind of envious that he gets to be the first guy in an all-girls school. Can't really blame him, I would be too. All of a sudden, Hong Xiu walks over to them both, confirming to Yi Ling that he has made the right choice. In addition, she gives him 1 day to get ready, revealing they will leave for the academy tomorrow night in an airship. With this, she heads back, promising to make sure he doesn't regret his decision later on. But that's not all. Yi Ling's teacher suddenly comes up to him and informs him that the mayor wants to meet him, and hence, he goes over to his office. There, the mayor gives him 300,000 federal points as a reward for his excellent performance in the exam, and even gives him high-ranking evolution material. Being given such expensive rewards, Yi Ling thanks the city lord and vows to continue working hard so he won't embarrass his school. However, when he opens up the material, he finds it to be an immortal bone, a top-grade material that only drops from strong undead. Even though it's of no use to him at the moment, it is necessary for Shu Weiyu's final evolution. Of course, he feels bad about taking such an expensive item, but the mayor tells him not to worry. Apparently, he has no use for it, and so it's better to hand it over to a young and promising student. With this, Yi Ling then takes his leave and walks out of the office. On the other hand, the mayor's assistant is left confused. As far as she knew, this item was something the mayor personally collected and treated like a treasure. If so, why did he give away something so precious? However, the mayor claims that, although it's valuable, the item is worth less than Yi Ling's bright future. The next day, Yi Ling is seen waiting to take the airship to the Phoenix Academy, and Qi Ji is also there to bid farewell to his friend. There, Qi Ji comments on how his buddy is now a big shot. After the 4 top academies fought for his enrollment, he became quite famous throughout the city. However, that means little to Yi Ling. In his eyes, he and Qi Ji will be brothers for life, and he wants to become stronger with him in the future. Just then, Huo Xian comes into the frame, congratulating Yi Ling on his acceptance into the Phoenix Academy. Seeing her come, Qi Ji realizes this is his hint to take a hike, and he immediately leaves the 2 lovebirds to chat alone. As such, Yi Ling also congratulates Huo Xian on getting into the Black Turtle Academy, but she acts all bashful. She knows he doesn't really care all that much about her, but she can't really help it. Ah, a maiden in love. How cute. Anyway, after having said her piece and seeing his face for the last time in a while, Huo Xian takes her leave, telling him not to slack off at school, leaving Yi Ling to wonder if she really came all the way here just to say that. Take it in already, dumbass. Nevertheless, the day turns into night and Yi Ling boards the Crimson Phoenix airship. Inside, the other female students watch him from afar, gossiping about the first male student to be ever accepted into their academy. However, none of them has anything good to say, remarking how he looks kind of ugly and dumb. Takes one to know one. On the other hand, Hong Xiu tries to give him a warm welcome. Apparently, it will take some time before they can reach their destination, the Holy Phoenix City, and she suggests Yi Ling take it easy for a while and enjoy the scenery on the way. Just then, Li Yue Hai, rank 7, level 5, and the captain of the airship interrupts their conversation. She reveals that something has gone wrong. They have detected something troublesome on their flight route ahead. As it turns out, their way is blocked by a bunch of flying type monsters. Although it is still too early to know what these monsters are or how many of them there are, one thing is for certain, they all are individually pretty weak. Still, the scouts are conducting further observations to get better grasp of the situation. Consequently, in order to ensure this ordeal doesn't escalate, Hong Shi-yu tells the captain to make the necessary arrangements first, and Li Yue-hai carries out her orders. She informs all the others on board of the situation and orders all the tamers in the airship to the elevator cabin and drive away the incoming monsters. As a result, all the tamers rush to their positions. On the way, Yi Ling runs into Yun Yi, and they both head to the cabin together. As they reach their destination, Hong Shi-yu is already present there with eyes on the target. Luckily for them, there is no need to panic, since the enemy is some low-level monsters, rank 1 beasts called Black Crows. Wanting to make the best of this situation, Hong Shi-yu decides to turn these monsters into some battle experience for the newbies, and hence, she orders Yi Ling and Yun Yi to summon their pets and prepare to engage in battle. Consequently, Yun Yi calls out her Frost Ice Bear and Yi Ling summons Shu Wei-yu. However, seeing Shu Wei-yu in front of him, Yun Yi's pet gets furious, thinking she is the threat here. Of course, Yun Yi calms him down, since he is not the opponent right now. Looks like someone knows how to hold a grudge. Regardless, Yi Ling notes that although they are only rank 1 Black Crows, their numbers are still a nuisance. All of a sudden, the system screen pops open. Under these circumstances, Yi Ling is given a new, time-limited mission to kill as many Black Crows as possible within 10 minutes. The rewards for completing this quest are unknown and will be based on the number of foes he brings down. Just then, the Black Crows start charging towards him, and thinking these dumb-ass birds came out of their own volition to give him free XP, Yi Ling cannot refuse their kind gesture. With this, he orders Shu Wei-yu to attack, and she charges in, bringing down one bird after another. Yumi also doesn't just stand around waiting, and joins in on the battle. Together, they start overwhelming the enemy troops, and even capture the attention of the other tamers, who are stunned by Shu Wei-yu's power and beauty. But things take a turn for the worse. Out of nowhere, black smoke appears in the sky, and it turns out to be a Black Crow King. Seeing this, Hong Shi-yu tells everyone to fall back. As per her, this Black Crow King is a rank 2 beast, making it something the newbies cannot fight off. However, Yi Ling has other ideas in mind. If I kill the Black Crow King, will I get a much better reward? He wonders. More importantly, if he takes down their leader, the others are sure to run away in fear. As such, he orders Shu Wei-yu to target the Black Crow King, and she dashes in. Nonetheless, Hong Shi-yu isn't too happy about this plan. She scolds Yi Ling, telling him not to be impulsive. With Shu Wei-yu's current ability, she won't be able to face a rank 2 opponent. But that's just her opinion. Yi Ling, confident as ever in his pet, tells her not to worry. Shu Wei-yu can do it, he proclaims. However, in Hong Shi-yu's eyes, this is nothing but some reckless banter. As such, she decides to take action into her own hands and summons her spirit pet, Fiery Hawk. All of a sudden, flames begin appearing all around her, and out of them, a bird emerges. As it turns out, her pet is rank 7, level 1. Seeing such a powerful pet, the other students on board are left speechless. It's the first time they have ever laid eyes on a rank 7 pet, and they wonder if Hong Shi-yu is planning on burning all the Black Crows to ash at once. But the students aren't the only ones left stunned. The Black Crows realize they have no chance of fighting such a powerful opponent, and they all immediately cower away in fear. Not like they had any other choice. On the other hand, Yi Ling is still unfazed and orders Shu Wei-yu to continue attacking, not wanting the Black Crow King to escape. Consequently, Shu Wei-yu begins attacking the monster. Just then, Hong Shi-yu realizes that Shu Wei-yu has a poison effect. She never expected a zombie pet to have such a weapon in her arsenal, but Shu Wei-yu keeps up the pressure. Ultimately, even the Crow King ends up in a disadvantageous situation and opts to run away with his life. Seeing this, the students all erupt into cheers, glad that the entire Crow flock has retreated. But Yi Ling doesn't feel the same way. He feels angry that he let the boss escape. However, to brighten his mood, the system reveals he has completed his mission with flying colors. In this short time, Yi Ling has managed to take down 478 crows, and for his efforts, he is awarded the 4th tier reward, 3 experience crystals, and 1 growth crystal. However, seeing this, he becomes a bit confused and begins to wonder what on earth these crystals actually do. Nevertheless, now that the crisis has been averted, the students are all ordered to head back to their rooms in an orderly manner. As such, Ling continues his investigation inside the ship, where he learns that the experience crystals, when used, can provide 10% of the spirit pet's experience points. Moreover, the growth crystal has the ability to grant 10% of the spirit pet's growth points. Having understood their capabilities, Ling is excited to no end. Wow, with these items, doesn't it mean Shui, you can evolve now, he thinks. And he decides this is the perfect time to do so. Gotta strike while the iron is still hot. As a result, he immediately begins the process of Shui Yu's evolution, and she starts to glow a reddish hue, implying the evolution is working. Soon, the hue engulfs her completely, and she emerges as a new monster, a gray-eyed zombie. In addition, she is now ranked 2 level, and her growth rate has also transformed to uncommon. This makes Ling delighted, but he has merely scratched the surface as of now. Apparently, the evolution has given her 2 additional skills: flight, giving her the power to fly, and blood manipulation, allowing her to manipulate the blood within a target's body. Of course, both skills also have their drawbacks, namely the depletion of stamina and reduced level of control depending on the target's level, but still, these make her unparalleled in battle. Moreover, like the smart ass he is, Ling realizes that with unlimited stamina, Shui Yu will be able to just keep on flying like it's nothing. Hence, he allocates all the remaining points he has towards her stamina. But that's not all. As congratulations for reaching rank 2, the system also activates the automatic pickup function and rewards Ling with a mysterious gift. Suddenly, a box appears in front of him, and upon opening it, he finds a talent card tucked inside. A talent card allows the user to replicate the talents of their own pets for themselves, with a total of 5 copying opportunities. All the while, Ling is still in shock that such an item really does exist. This is awesome. There has been nothing like this in the entire Federation, he exclaims. With this, he wants to get on to copying Shui Yu's abilities and copy her super speed regeneration and blood fog transformation skills. But, as per him, there are still even more amazing things left for them to witness. He then brings out the spirit pet egg he received as a reward for ranking first in the exam, which looks to be on the verge of hatching. And so, he begins making contact with the egg and tells his second pet to awaken from its slumber. Just then, out of nowhere, a bright beam of light emerges from the egg. The light is so bright, in fact, that it captures the entire ship's attention, though they chalk it up to be Hong Shiyu's pet. However, that couldn't be further from the case. Inside his room, Ling finds out that his second pet is a phoenix, an epic, rank 1, level 9 beast. However, upon closer inspection, he sees his phoenix doesn't have the rebirth through nirvana skill. But that too is a small matter. You might remember that he received the rebirth skill as a reward earlier on, and he assigns it to his phoenix. Thanks to this, the bird gains the rebirth through nirvana skill. Just like that, Ling's firepower has doubled, and he decides to name his new pet Feng Jiyu, or just Ji for short. And as luck would have it, the phoenix loves this name as well. Alas, you might ask how I know this. Well, as luck would have it, Jiyu can actually talk too, truly deserving to be an epic level pet. Soon enough, the airship finally reaches its destination, and the students arrive in the Holy Phoenix City. As the airship lands, the newcomers are left bewitched by the dazzling city and burst with excitement, especially Yun Yi, who cannot seem to control herself. There, Hong Shi Yu decides to show the students the most important place in the city, the place where they will study, the Crimson Phoenix Academy, or Vermilion Academy as it's now known. The translator really needs to get themselves together. Just stick to one translation, dude. As the students take their first steps into the city, Hong Shi Yu tells them to take a leisurely stroll to get themselves familiarized with the environment, mentioning that their accommodation will be arranged later on. However, seeing as Ling is the first ever male student to attend, the school has built an independent mansion for him that he will be using as his dorm from now on, and he is happy to partake in this luxury. All of a sudden, a car comes dashing into sight. Apparently, the driver has been ordered by the headmistress to fetch a student named Ling. However, seeing this student as a guy, she freaks out, so much so that she starts wondering if Ling is a cross-dresser or something. Of course, he has no other choice than to dismiss this strange question, whereas Hong Shiyu and Yun Yi burst out laughing. Hong Shiyu explains that Yi Ling is an exception. He is someone wanted by all 4 top academies. Moreover, she comments on how she had to go through a lot in order to get him into this school with the principal's permission. Hearing this explanation, the driver finally understands the situation and tells Yi Ling to get in, stating she will drop him off at his dorm. As such, Yi Ling bids farewell to Hong Shiyu and Yu Ni, heading forward first. In response, Hong Shiyu tells him to go rest up and she will be there soon to bring him to the headmistress. All the while, Yu Ni just can't control her laughter. And here I thought she was a nice girl. Guess I was wrong. With this, Yi Ling and the woman ride off into the horizon. On the other hand, news of this new male student spreads like wildfire. The students begin researching this newcomer, realizing he must be pretty powerful to be allowed to attend this all-girls school. Apparently, they all look forward to this new change and get excited for the days ahead of them. However, among them is the scandalous teacher, who decides to make this guy fall in love with her. Isn't that a crime? Also, isn't he a minor? Call the feds. Anyway, Hong Shiyu eventually takes Yi Ling to meet with the headmistress. As it turns out, the principal is a well-endowed, masked woman who welcomes her first ever male student. But first and foremost, she questions if the rumors are true, asking if Yi Ling really unlocked rank 2 skills, while being a rank 1, and he confirms this. There, Hong Shiyu asks what class they should put Yi Ling in, and the headmistress claims they should put him in the Vermilion class, chosen for people with immeasurable potential. With this, Hong Shiyu then decides to take her leave, wanting to make arrangements for Yi Ling's schooling, and he walks off with her. As they leave, he asks Hong Shiyu what this Vermilion class is, and she explains is an elite class where only excellent students are selected by the Federation to attend. She also adds that, since he is the first male, everything he does will be under heavy scrutiny, but our boy was never one to shy away from a challenge. The next day, he heads into his first day of class, where the other students are already gossiping about him. Hearing all this commotion, he understands that it won't be easy to go unnoticed in this academy. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Soon, the teacher, Gao Yu, arrives. As it turns out, she is responsible for the Vermilion class's daily matter management. Moreover, she reveals that academic training and matter management are 2 separate matters, and the academic training will be conducted in groups of 3 or 4. Each group will have an assigned counselor, and she immediately starts dividing the class into groups. Consequently, Yi Ling is grouped together with He Shuwei and Sun Ning, and their counselor is revealed to be none other than Hong Shiyu herself. Hearing this, the class is astonished. Apparently, Hong Shiyu stopped counseling students a long time ago, and they wonder if this change of heart is due to the new male student. Who knows? Regardless, later that night, Yi Ling meets up with his group members, who all appear to be pretty friendly. Even Hong Shiyu shows up. As their counselor, she vows to be by their side until they graduate. However, seeing as they are all elite, they won't be getting much attention from her. Since they have already learned the basics of taming, she wants to get right into training. And so, the groups begin gathering some fighting experience. He Shuwei and Sun Ning go at each other in a battle, while Yi Ling watches them from the sidelines. Suddenly, Hong Shiyu comes up to him, announcing that the academy will fulfill their promise. As such, she hands him a hidden realm card, telling him he can use it once a month to enter a dungeon.